Welcome back to Altcoin Explorer Channel, everyone. My name is Biswajit, and today we've got a crucial update for anyone watching the crypto markets. Right now, Bitcoin is sitting at a major tipping point, showing early signs of what could evolve into a dramatic short squeeze. A key resistance line is being tested, and we're approaching a zone of high liquidity that might ignite a flurry of forced buying pressure from short sellers. At the same time, we're seeing important technical setups on Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Chainlink, all of which may mirror Bitcoin's behavior in the short term. So stick around, because we're breaking it all down today, from macro charts to short-term signals and everything in between. Let's dive in. Starting off with the 4-day Bitcoin chart, we're still operating under a red supertrend indicator, clearly signaling bearish conditions in the broader trend. The weekly MACD also confirms this, continuing to lean bearish. However, what's interesting here is not just the bearishness itself, it's the slowing momentum behind it. Over the last few weeks, that steep bearish descent has begun to ease up. This mirrors similar behavior we saw back in July 2024, when Bitcoin bottomed out before staging a brief recovery. So while we're not necessarily looking at a full-blown bullish reversal just yet, we might have already passed the worst phase of this downtrend. Zooming in on the weekly time frame, we're still facing a strong bearish divergence, a higher high in price but a lower high in RSI. That divergence is a classic red flag for any potential long-term bullish scenarios, so don't expect a sudden moonshot. But that doesn't mean there aren't short-term opportunities. Let's zoom in. Looking at the 3-day chart, Bitcoin is consolidating in a horizontal range, bouncing between strong support near $70,000 to $74,000 and resistance in the $86,000 to $88,000 range. Should we see a confirmed breakout above $88,000, that would pave the way for a potential push to $92,000. And beyond that, $96,000 becomes the next target. Right now on the daily chart, Bitcoin is flirting with a descending trend line that has consistently acted as resistance. This line currently sits near $84,000. We've had multiple rejections from this trend line, so a daily candle close above it, not just a wick, is essential to confirm the breakout. Why is this important? Because we are simultaneously seeing a bullish divergence play out. The daily RSI has printed higher lows while price action made lower lows, which is often a leading signal of short-term bullish momentum. In fact, this divergence already led to a strong green candle, the first clear bullish candle in weeks, suggesting that a short-term relief rally is likely. If we break above that $84,000 trend line and then breach $85,000, a major liquidity zone, we could see a mini short squeeze. Let's talk about what a short squeeze actually means. When a large number of traders are betting against Bitcoin by shorting, they often place stop losses or liquidation levels just above key resistance zones. If price rises and those stops get triggered, it forces short sellers to buy back Bitcoin to cover their positions. That sudden influx of buy orders can cause prices to spike even further, a cascade of buying pressure. In this case, that short squeeze could begin if Bitcoin breaks and closes above $85,000. If that happens, we're looking at a probable push to $88,000, where we could meet the next cluster of resistance. Break through that, and $92,000 becomes the next magnet. But let's stay realistic. While this setup has potential, we're not expecting a massive breakout like we saw in previous bull runs, especially with the lingering bearish divergence on the weekly chart. Think of this as a relief rally, not a trend reversal yet. Turning to Ethereum, the bigger trend still shows a bearish market structure on the weekly chart. We're not seeing any signs of a full trend reversal yet. However, short-term, we are bouncing off a critical support zone between $1,400 and $1,550. Much like Bitcoin, Ethereum is showing early signs of a short-term relief rally. If Bitcoin breaks out, Ethereum is likely to follow, potentially retesting resistance near $1,750 to $1,800. But don't get too excited yet. Ethereum's long-term structure remains weak, and until we see weekly candle closes above the $1,900 to $2,000 range, this remains a bounce within a bear trend, not a new bull cycle. Now let's check in on Solana. Currently, SOL is retesting a former support zone, now acting as resistance, between $120 and $130. We've already seen rejection within this zone recently, which reinforces it as a critical battleground. Like Ethereum and Bitcoin, Solana is also playing out a bullish divergence on the daily chart. That sets the stage for short-term upside movement, perhaps even a breakout if bulls can push through $130. If that breakout happens, watch $136 and then $144 to $145 as your next resistance targets. But if Solana gets rejected again at $130, expect continued chop or even a retest of lower supports near $110 or even sub $100 in a worst-case short-term scenario. Next up, XRP. On the 3-day chart, XRP is still burdened by a long-standing bearish divergence, suggesting that larger time-frame bullish momentum is unlikely in the immediate future. That said, XRP is currently bouncing off support near $1.74, and if this level holds, we may see a short-term push towards $2.14 to $2.15. A confirmed breakout above that resistance opens the door to $2.47 in the short term. As always, XRP tends to mirror Bitcoin's behavior. If BTC breaks out and triggers a short squeeze, expect XRP to ride the wave upward, though perhaps with a slight delay. Now let's take a look at Chainlink or Link. Like the rest of the market, Chainlink is in a longer-term bearish trend, but we're seeing a bullish divergence form on the daily time frame. The price has been printing lower lows while the RSI prints higher lows, a signal that a short-term relief rally could be imminent. Support around $10 has held firm, and we've bounced from there recently. Additional support sits around $11, while resistance is stacked at $12.80 to $13. Break through that, and the next major target lies between $14.90 and $15.50. Again, like with all the other assets we've discussed, this is likely a short-term move. Unless we start seeing weekly candle closes above those mid-teens levels, the bigger trend remains bearish. So what does all of this mean for traders? In short, we're looking at a window of opportunity. Bullish divergences across the board are signaling that we may get a couple of weeks of upward or sideways movement, a break from the intense bearish action of the past few months. But remember, these moves are within larger bearish trends. That makes this a great time for short-term trading strategies, not necessarily long-term investments, unless we see clear trend reversals. If you're planning to trade, make sure you're doing it smartly. I personally use platforms like TBIT and BTEX for my trades, not just because they offer solid execution, but because they have huge bonus structures and reduced fees if you sign up with the links below. TBIT, for example, offers up to $50,000 in trading rewards or a simple $30 sign-up bonus with a 20% deposit rebate, just for using the link. And both platforms are no KYC, meaning you can sign up from anywhere in the world without jumping through hoops. Just remember to check your local regulations before trading. So, to recap, Bitcoin is on the verge of a potential breakout, possibly triggering a short squeeze. Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Chainlink are all showing short-term bullish divergences, suggesting relief rallies. However, the bigger trend is still bearish, so treat any rallies as temporary until proven otherwise. Smart traders will be watching key resistance levels and planning short-term moves accordingly. If you want to learn how to trade in bullish, bearish, or sideways markets, whether it's long positions, shorting, or range trading, I've got step-by-step tutorials linked right here on the screen. Click the top left video to learn how to profit from directional trades, or click the bottom left one to master sideways trading strategies. Thanks for tuning in. This is Biswajit from Altcoin Explorer Channel, and I'll catch you in the next update. Stay sharp, stay smart, and stay in profit.